Good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning,
morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishnah Shabbos, Perikut Beis, chapter 12, Mishnah Vav, Mishnah 6. Should be dedicate this morning's learning in memory of my mother, Mrs. Shlomo Rabinowitz, Shlomo Spas Rav Yaakov Eliezer. Our learning should be Aliyah for her neshama.
Amen.
Now, we mentioned before that the minimum amount of writing to be liable for the malacha of kosev of writing is 2 letters. We've also said that a person to be chayav a carbon chatas, a sin offering, has to have performed the halacha intentionally in one halama, in one forgetting, or in one, as they translate here, as one that they call it here in the art scroll, lapse of awareness. That if you were to have one lapse of awareness, meaning you were to forget it's Shabbos, and then you did the same thing over and over again. You did the same malacha over and over again. You know, you forgot it was Shabbos, and you cooked, and then you cooked again, and then you cooked again, then you cooked again. You're only chayev one chatas, one sin offering. That's the halacha. In one forgetting, you can do many of the same type of work, a forbidden activity. You can do many of those acts, but if they're all in one forgetting, you only bring one carbon chatas. On the other hand, if let's say you were to have had a lapse of awareness, then you realized it was Shabbos, and then you forgot it was Shabbos again, and you did the same thing over again, then you'd have to bring 2 chatos, 2 sin offerings. So basically, your halama achas, your one lapse, is one thing that determines how many carbon chatas you're going to bring, at least for when you go ahead and do the same malacha over and over again.
Continuous one.
Yeah. No, if it's continuous, it's going to be 1. If it splits up, then it's going to be 2.
And if it's in one lapse, you do many different malachas.
Then you have a chatas for each separate malacha.
Even though it was still...
Even though it was one halama, yes. Now, the Mishnah is like this. You write 2 letters in 2 lapses of awareness, in 2 forgettings. He forgot it was Shabbos, wrote 1 letter. He catches himself, it's Shabbos. Then he forgets again. And he writes another letter. Okay. Or, Achris, Shachris, Va'achas ben Rabbayim. He wrote 1 letter in the morning, and then next to that letter in the evening or the afternoon, he wrote another letter. Now, in this case, the point is you may not have actually had a lapse of awareness the entire time. Your lapse of awareness may have extended. You may have forgotten the whole day that it was Shabbos, but there was enough time for you to realize that it was Shabbos. Okay, so the first case is you have 1 lapse, you're aware, and you have another lapse. And this one, actually, in reality, you only had 1 lapse, but there was enough time in between your 2 writing of the letters to have realized it was Shabbos. Rabbi Gamliel Machayev. Rabbi Gamliel says that you are liable. The Chachamim Paik and the Chachamim exempt. Now, so let's try to understand this. Gamliel is saying, even in the first case, where you had 2 lapses, right? You had 1 lapse and wrote a letter, realized it was Shabbos, and then wrote another letter when you had another lapse. According to Rabbi Gamliel, he's going to be mechayiv your carbon chatas for writing 2 letters, right? Don't forget, 2 letters is the minimum amount to be liable for the malach of kaisev. In our case, he wrote 1 letter by 1 forgetting, and then he realized it was Shabbos, forgot again, wrote the other letter. So that means that in reality, the halama ended, the lapse of awareness ended in between the performance of the complete act. Rabbi Gamliel says that if your awareness comes in the middle of the act, you didn't finish it yet, it comes in the middle of the act, we do not consider the original forgetting or the original lapse as over. And when you relapse, okay, when you then have another forgetting, you have another lapse of awareness of Shabbos, and you write another letter, it's like considered 1 lapse and you're chayiv one chatas. It's based on psukim. He derives it from certain verses in the Torah. The way he derives, the way he interprets the psukim, the verses, he has this rule that as long as the awareness of what you that it was Shabbos, or that what you did was wrong on Shabbos, if it comes after you've completed the malacha, right? If it comes then we say, okay, you remember it after the malacha was done. If you go further, it's a brand new malacha. But if that awareness happens in the middle of the malacha, in the middle of the act, you only wrote one letter, you didn't finish it yet, and then by the time you finish it, you forgot again, that's considered still one lapse of awareness, and you'll be chayiv achatas. So it's considered that I wrote 2 letters, which is the minimum for kaisev, in one lapsing, because the awareness will not take away the lapse regarding the carbon chatas if it takes place in the middle of an act. That's his opinion. And the Chachamim paitrim, the Chachamim exempt. The Chachamim say, look, once you have your awareness, the original halama is over. Since I had one halama for half an act, and then another halama, another lap awareness for the other half, I never had one halama for a complete act, and therefore I'm not going to be liable. So that's the machlekes, that's the argument between Rebbe Lezer and the Chachamim, and the halacha is like the Chachamim. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful Yantif.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.